Playing with dynamics consistently is easily the hardest guitar technique. I can find video after video of someone playing some awesome, super crazy shred technique stuff, but it's really uncommon to come across video after video of really dynamic playing. And there's a lot of guitar teachers that I've been that teacher. There's a lot of teachers out there that are like, oh, you always got to play with dynamics. But I don't really think that's true anymore. Unless, of course, you're playing like certain scenarios of jazz or blues. To be fair, I did have a teacher while I was at Berklee say, don't play dynamically on recordings, and that'll be for reasons that we'll get into in a sec. So first, let's start with the cons of playing dynamically, or why not to. So con number one, it's just harder to compete, especially with recorded music, in a world where everything is loud. If you want to make an artistic argument of like, well, that shouldn't affect your art, totally. But if you want any of your art to compete with the other art out there for someone's attention, for an audience, then you might need to compete. If I'm listening to a playlist and like the first 5 songs are the same volume, but then the 6th dips way low and I have to turn the volume way up and then immediately back down when the song's over, that song might find its way to another playlist, honestly, or just be deleted. And that's me, who happens to love music. If I was like a casual listener or something like that, I'd be like, why is this song quieter? Ugh, I hate it. And then just get rid of it. You could really easily lose out on a good amount of people. It's also true when you're making a live album. You could be SRV, Stevie Ray Vaughan, or SRP, some random person. And honestly, if you take, that little bit of time to play super quiet and like build a bunch of suspense for a couple minutes and then get loud, during those 2 minutes, you're definitely going to hear in like the room mic or something, whatever is recording you for your live show, someone ordering a drink, or like the cash register going cha-ching, 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 or a bunch of other stuff. And it always kind of, it's either interesting because you're like, hey, that's a live moment, or it's kind of like, well, I wanted to listen to the music. Now I have to, every time I listen to track 4, hear some person order a drink. If you want to be transported somewhere, dynamic music is wonderful because you can experience all the dynamics. If you have noise-canceling headphones or in a very quiet space, the smallest little noise can bring some drama. The loud noises can shock you, Most people, I don't think they listen to music like that. I get that this can kind of sound like I'm telling you to sell your art short, and please don't. I do not mean that. All I'm saying is that if you want to compete in a marketplace of music, you might need to consider that you might reach less people, that's all. A neutral but very valid point is that not every genre needs dynamics. If I was kickstarting my heart with Motley Crue or playing through some AC/DC song that was meant to get the crowd going, I wouldn't play consistently dynamically with, ups and downs. I would play at the dynamic level of loud. To be fair, I also see other people like in jazz, blues, and indie play something where it's almost like the tempo is tied in very closely with the dynamics. If it's a ballad, it's just always right here and it never changes. It never builds. It's just kind of like this murky stuff. If it's mid-tempo, it's kind of like, yeah, I can hear that. And if it's, a faster tune, it's just incredibly loud. I don't really want to jump on the train of just like blaming social media because I don't have any other thing to say. But I will say, as a part of social media, you want to grab someone's attention, right? And what do? You do something that's very attention grabby. And playing with ebbs and flows is kind of like you're on a journey. Playing to get someone's attention, you might play a bit like Yngwie, but with no song. You would just play the fast parts. Again, this is not like an it's bad or good thing, but it does sometimes seem like a whole generation of people got tired of listening to someone like Yngwie and fast forwarding to the solo, and are just making videos of the solo. No song. Kind of reminds me of a student I had a while ago. We were working on his songwriting because I teach that as well as guitar. And he was bringing in songs that were all like verse chorus, not verse chorus or anything, but like verse chorus. So all of his songs were like 50 seconds or a minute or something. And I remember asking him like, oh, did you not want to add anything else? Have you said anything you needed to say? Or, what was the reason for keeping everything so short? And he said, well, after you've heard the chorus, like, why would I keep listening? Like, the other verse is probably going to sound the same, and I already heard the chorus, so like, why do I care to listen to a whole 3-minute song? And I was actually kind of surprised by this perspective, but then I had to realize, maybe it makes sense if the majority of music you've listened to has been on, Instagram or TikTok or something like that, and everything is more short form. Why keep listening to a song to get to the chorus if it can just loop and you'll just hear that minute again? So if I was writing songs kind of like as content for those platforms, I don't know if I would really need to have like an ebb and flow to my playing. I might want to just go for it and have like a very intense, engaging 50 seconds. And I get, again, that ebbs and flows can also be engaging and are engaging. But if I have to grab your attention away from like, do not scroll, I might need to hit you with like, whoa, like just that feeling over and over and over again. Let's get to the pros, or reasons why to play very dynamically and consistently dynamically. I think if you tried like a 1 or 2 minute long instrumental piece, like even if you chose the same one that you already know, or you improvised one, whatever, and you played one kind of just one dynamic level and the other one hilariously dynamic, like it's a caricature of playing dynamically. You're like you're super quiet, you're super loud, all over the place. When you listen back and you listen to the one that's one dynamic, I feel like a lot of you will go, yeah, that sounds cool. I'm like, sounds cool. And then when you listen to the super dynamic one, sometimes you'll get more of a reaction out of it. You'll either have played so hilariously dynamically that you may laugh, or you may feel like you were told a story without words. You were guided through whatever the piece was. Again, unless you're using dynamics hilariously, you wouldn't use it just randomly while in a sentence. There would be reason why you get louder. So again, that adds to the story arc of your piece. To paraphrase a movie from my childhood, you'd be putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. One of the key takeaways and reasons to put it in your practice routine from someone who has put it in his practice routine is that I think you too will notice that it's almost impossible to zone out when playing so ebb and flowy, so dynamically. I can guarantee with as much certainty that you can guarantee anything in music, which is, 70% or something at best, that you will experience this whole like inability to be on autopilot. You will be more present for every note because you'll have to decide something about every note. How loud is it? Where am I going with this? What have I just done and what should I do about it? You're going to be very, very present when you're playing. So do I think you should always play super dynamically? Absolutely not. Do I think you should try it? Work it into your practice routine because it's super hard but super rewarding and super eye-opening? Yeah. When you get to most musical situations, however, maybe don't. So thank you for watching, and if you like what you saw, please consider subscribing, commenting down below, checking out the Patreon for some extra goodies. Also, if you want to work on guitar, songwriting, production, what have you, please consider reaching out for lessons. And thanks again for checking out this channel where we're excited about guitar.